guys, how you doing? Today is May 6th and we are doing oil changes on the Farmall H finally, and we're going to do the John Deere A as well. And I'm not really going to do a how-to on these tractors. I think that be beating a dead horse, because there's several how-to change oil videos on the Farmall H. I guess I could kind of go through it on the John Deere A, but essentially all I'm doing is pulling the drain plug on the pan, letting that oil drain. And on the filter housing, there's a plug to drain the filter housing. I'll do that once the pan is done. And it's a cartridge type filter, so you basically take this bolt out and the canister lifts off, the filter's underneath, and then there's an O-ring that we got to pick out of that groove where this canister seats to install the new O-ring. So it's essentially all there is to that. We'll go through and we'll grease everything. There's grease zerks just randomly, this is for the clutch shaft. There's a couple up here for the U-joint on the steering column, or the steering shaft. There's one up here for this journal where the steering shaft goes through. There's one on each of the axle bearings. There's one here for the front bolster. I believe there's one underneath here for the crank, the hand crank. There's another one over here for the clutch shaft, and there's one for the throwout bearing right underneath there. So another one for the other axle shaft bearing. And let's see, I don't know if there are any on the PTO. There's a lot of dirt underneath there, so. But we'll let this drip a little bit more, and then we'll take the filter housing off and drain that, and then just, I guess I could randomly grease some things right now. So. Got plenty of grease. Give it kind of a couple pumps on each end of the clutch shaft. See where the grease zerk is at for this middle steering. Here we go. Just get down here and do the throwout bearing. eventually this throw bearing is going to need to be replaced on here. You can tell it's got some wear in it, but it looks like this pressure plate assembly has been replaced or upgraded at some point, because there's a it's either that or somebody spray painted it orange. So my guess is it's probably been replaced with a heavier duty pressure plate at some point. So it pretty much takes care of all the grease serve locations. So let's go ahead and take care of the filter housing here. Looks like the oil's pretty much done dripping off the bottom, so plug back in. Actually, when I brought it over here, I ran out of gas. I could have swore I put 5 gallons in it. Now, let me grab a wrench here. This pipe plug is going to come out. Doesn't look like it. Well, instead of trying to strip it, we'll just pull the filter housing off, and if we make a mess, we make a mess. So there's our filter housing. As you can see, it's plenty dirty. I mean, that oil is barely even moving. So it's a good thing we're changing this, because we don't want to cause any more problems than what we already fixed. Make sure you get all the sludge out of the bottom of this oil filter housing. There's a lot of crap that accumulates in there. Since if I can't get that pipe plug out. What happened is it's probably never been removed, so I gotta probably hit that with an oxyacetylene torch to get it out. So we'll just wipe this out as best we can and go from there. Grab a pick. I don't even think there was an O-ring in here. I'm gonna have to scrape that out. Looks like there was just some grease. Spray it down with some diesel to help clean it. In case you guys were wondering about my hand, it's doing okay. It's doing okay. Still a little swollen. Still hurts a little bit, but it's not going to stop me from getting my work done, you know. Well, it sure doesn't feel like there's an O-ring in there, so we'll just clean it out the best we can. a lot of sludge in here in this groove. They must have just used the sludge to seal this canister off. Because there's definitely no O-ring in there. Grab my air compressor here and I'll blow that all out. When you do these oil filters, make sure that it comes with a new O-ring before you leave the store. It should have a new O-ring in it, but sometimes I've read online it doesn't. So down in place. Canister. Before we do that, swipe off the bolts. Filter housing as best we can here. I ran out of brake cleaner, so I'm stuck doing rags. But that's alright. Rags will work. So it should go a large end of the filter because there's a small end and there's a large end. So large end towards the bottom. I'm actually thinking on the tractors that are all original, so basically everyone but the case, I'm thinking I'm going to coat them with a 50-50 mixture of mineral spirits and oil linseed oil to kind of preserve the patina on them. I can find what I did with my crescent. Oh, there it is. This thing should hold 6 quarts. Well, we're going to open the lower petcock here. And pour it in until it starts coming out. Put in 5 and see what happens. Now you can use straight 30 weights. I happen to have some 10W30 laying around, so I'm going to use that in here, because this one will probably more than likely get run in the winter once in a while, so that 10W30 will help in the winter time with cold starts. Actually, my neighbor had it laying around and he gave it to me, so I shouldn't say that I had it laying around. We're kind of on a downhill slant, so we'll have to take that into account as well a little bit. But the darn air conditioner is loud when it kicks in. I'm sure it's been, oh, now we're starting to get some oil coming out of the bottom petcock. So we'll close that one off. It's basically our low oil level. I'll put another quart in here. It says it holds 6 quarts, so I'm guessing we'll probably get about 5 in it until we start it up and run it, and then we'll probably have to add another half a quart to full quart, just because it's probably not going to hold the full 6, being that you know, there's sludge in the bottom of the oil pan and that, so hopefully not half a quart's worth of sludge, but now we're getting a drip out of the top, or the full mark. So close that one up. There we go. got 5 quarts in it. Take these over to the garbage. Alright, all our plugs are in. Start it up and run it for a minute and then go from there. Check the oil level and alright, looks like we gotta add a little bit. So we'll just pour it in until it just starts to come out, and that'll be that. Pretty much a full 6 quarts. So just dump the last little bit in there. There's probably only about a 1/8 inch, 1/16 of an inch in the bottom of this, so just dump it in. Up that petcock. Snug up the cap. And that's it. That's the oil change. So the only other thing is drain and refill this oil cup for the air cleaner. So I'll do that quick. And then I'm going to move the Farmall, put it over by the case, and then fire up the John Deere, let it run a little bit, and change the oil on that. Alright guys, we'll go ahead and fire up this John Deere A. Electric start on that thing. Back in the garage. We had to get it good and warm here, but we're gonna pull the drain plug here. The oil filter's under this housing, and then we also have to drain the reduction housing. So first reduction housing. A lot of crap. I assume there's a lot of crap because of you know, getting this thing running after so many years. A lot of the crap that was in the coolant housings, or the not the coolant housings, the oil galleys, probably pushed out of the block and into everything. I'm ashamed to admit it, but this is actually the first time I've changed the oil in this since I've gotten it back together. But I really don't have that many hours on it, so make sure there's nothing blocking the way. Gonna have to get a bigger wrench for that one. See if this one's too big. Nope, just the right size. So between these two tractors, I've almost filled a 5-gallon bucket. let this one kind of weep out. And I think with the reduction housing, this tractor holds about 9 quarts. So 8 in the engine and a quart in the gear reduction housing. So let that all drain out. Gotta get a rag here. I'm going to try to get some of these parts organized out of the back of the truck here from the F20s. I don't have much shelf space left, but what I do have, I'd like to get it organized and kind of do something, you know. What do I do with that rag? Making kind of a mess down here. Wipe it up as best I can. believe there's a O-ring in this portion here. I just have to dig it out. So let's see if I can get to it here. There it is. See which one it is. It comes with two different size O-rings, so depending on the year, I believe. I'll put it up in place. Filter housing's pretty much done draining. Just gonna snug it up. Here, we'll put this over here, and then put the drain plug back in it. Wasn't too much coming out of there, so try to wipe off all the excess and tighten the drain plug up. That. Now drain the first reduction gear housing. Now I drilled and tapped my own drain holes in this simply because, oh, let me grab a wrench. I saw it recommended on yesterday's tractors back when I was building this. A lot of condensation and crap coming out of there. So, take the top one out. Make sure there's no crap plugging up the hole. And a lot of this is probably leaked out over time because I've got a up where the clutch pivot and fork assembly is, there's it's pretty worn, so it's leaking out of here, and it looks like I might be getting a little bit of a leak from the clutch, but I'm not getting any slippage, so maybe it's not leaking out of the clutch. But anyways, we'll let that drip for a minute and we'll come back. Alright guys, when we fill the oil, it goes in this engine breather right here. So you remove the breather filter, dump the oil down in there, put your breather cap back on. Again, it's 8 quarts in here, and then a quart I'm going to put down inside the first reduction gear housing. So let me grab a funnel here. I already put the oil down inside the engine. Again, I'm just using straight 30 weight. So and I've got a copper crush washer on the plug that I installed here. So. Everything. Now I am going to change the case's oil as well. I don't think I'll do that today though, just because I don't have time. So, but I wanted to get these 2 tractors done, and then I got to unload the parts out of the truck here. Go ahead and start this baby up, and let's see, open up the petcocks here, turn on the fuel, let the bowl fill up for a second. Throttle. got good oil pressure. I got to adjust the idle speed on this. It idles down just a little too low. There they are, all three of them parked together. 3 of the 5 anyhow. Get this truck unloaded and maybe we'll go for a ride. Alright guys, well, I took a little break from unloading the truck here. As you can see, I don't have much space to put it, so I'm probably going to end up leaving half of it in the truck. But I got to work on this clutch out of the 38, and just to give you an idea, this is how I had to get the clutch disc out. I had to bust away the clutch lining, then I had to break off the tabs that are on the actual disc itself that slides onto the shaft, and then I had to put my puller, my 3-jaw puller, on this in order to get it off the shaft so I could get the pressure plate assembly off. And this thing is in rough shape, but I did get it apart. So, as you can see, there is a lot of rust on here. I don't even think the throwout bearing turns. But, anyhow, I did get that part apart. So, that's progress anyways. But that's going to really do it for the F20 stuff today. And I think I'm going to leave the rest of it in the truck because I really don't have a place to put it, as you can see. So I'll get all this stuff cleaned up on the shelf over here, get the truck out of the garage, and then we'll go for a couple tractor rides real quick. Alright? changes and got the clutch pressure plate and everything disconnected. So made some progress for 2.5 hours worth of work.